The situation with gasoline, the situation in short is not changing. There's no 98, no 95, not even 92. In short, only diesel is available.
And look at what's happening here.
Slowly and painfully, ordinary Russians are learning the horrible truth that has been hidden from them by their Führer. The number of those killed guys will be enormous. I think when we learn the whole truth about how many there are, the whole country will be horrified. A native of the town of Miski in the Kemerovo region of Russia recorded a video at a local cemetery, which he visited after a long absence. He was surprised by the large number of graves of Russian soldiers killed in the war in Ukraine.
And look at what's happening here. These are all our guys who have already died in the special military operation. Well, what do they call it there? I remember they told us in our city, yes, Meski, in 15 years of the war in Afghanistan, there were 3 or 4 casualties, and look at what's happening now. Everything is just covered in flags. There we are, the Navy. In Kurgan, where I live now, there's just a whole sea of these monuments. Well, the city is bigger, of course, but still. I don't know when all this will end, when we will count the losses of my people, our peoples, Russians, Tatars, Bashkirs, everyone, Russians, 93-24. This is purely, valid of special military operation participants. Yeah, we lived, didn't worry, we were happy, we were sad, and then bam, and the guys went off to die. Very young, 2005, 24, 19 years old, the guy. Look how many there are. Well, that's it. I won't go around, guys. It's pointless. This is our grass cemetery. This, guys, is a town of 40,000. And this is not the only cemetery. Mostly those in the center are buried in our old central cemetery. I was just now in the 1st district at the cemetery, and it's the same there. That's how it is, guys. Look over there, further too.
The flags are hanging.
In general, a lot. There will be a multitude of casualties, guys. I think when we learn the whole truth about their number, the entire country will be horrified.
Russia wanted to provoke a fuel crisis in Ukraine with its attacks. But now the aggressor is facing a gasoline shortage, according to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Facebook. The head of state congratulated all workers in the oil industry on their professional holiday. He noted that the courage of such people often goes unnoticed, but without it, the resilience of the state would be compromised. Ukrainian gas production exists, and I am grateful to you for it on behalf of all Ukrainians. Transportation, storage, everything is in place. For several winters, we have helped our neighbors in Moldova get through, and that is very significant. Despite all the threats and Russian attacks, Ukraine has found a way to secure its fuel. Russia was counting on a crisis, a fuel crisis, in Ukraine, but now it is facing a gasoline shortage, Zelensky said. He recalled that every winter since the start of the full-scale war, Russia has tried to turn it into a weapon against Ukrainians, against the energy system and heating supply. Ukraine manages to get through these winters thanks to the workers in the oil industry and other critically important sectors. On August 21st, the Ukrainian Foreign Intelligence Service reported that Russia has imposed strict limits on gasoline purchases. In some Russian regions, as well as in temporarily occupied Crimea, the Russian authorities allowed people to buy only 10 liters of gasoline per person. The fuel crisis in Russia began after a series of successful attacks by Ukrainian defenders on Russian oil refineries.
The situation with gasoline, на situation salary in short, is not changing. There's no 98, no 95, not even 92. In short, only diesel is available. I have a range of just 40 kilometers left, and that's it. So listen, there's no gasoline in Belgorod. That's the story. Alas.
Ukraine's Brave One defense technology cluster has tested strike kamikaze drones capable of resisting electronic warfare and reaching over 40 kilometers, Digital Transformation Minister Mikhailo Fedorov reported on X. We completed final tests of loitering munitions with a strike range of more than 40 kilometers, Fedorov wrote. Thanks to support from Brave One and feedback from service members, manufacturers were able to develop highly effective technologies that will soon be deployed on the front line. Next up are combat tests, and Ukraine is accelerating the mass deployment of kamikaze strike drones on the battlefield, the minister added. In August, U.S. President Donald Trump said, "The United States is studying the experience of drone use in the war in Ukraine." This is the biggest event in the history of military affairs, Trump said. It's an entirely new form of conducting combat operations. It's a drone war like never before. And we're studying it. Pete Hegseth and everyone else. We're studying it very carefully. It's an entirely new form of war, but it's a brutal war. A global outage of Starlink satellite internet has occurred, affecting even the defenders on the front lines. Robert Brovdi, commander of the Unmanned Systems Forces, reported on this. According to him, Starlink satellite communication went down along the entire front line. Meanwhile, global reports indicate that the number of users affected by the issue has risen to 45,000. Starlink plays a crucial role for Ukrainian defenders on the front lines, not only for individual internet access, but also for coordinating Ukrainian forces at the line of contact and ensuring situational awareness for command. Starlink terminals are also widely used for communication with drones, enabling their effective operation. At this time, there is no official information on the cause of the outage. A similar global disruption of the Starlink satellite communication system occurred on July 24, 2025. At that time, SpaceX confirmed issues with the system's operation and announced the launch of an investigation. Service was restored within a few hours. U.S. envoy Keith Kellogg on the Russian army. The Ukrainians have done a great job on that one. And this is not the Russia-Soviet Union that I knew in the middle of the Cold War.
The Ukrainians done a great job on that one. And this is not the Russia-Soviet Union that I knew in the middle of the Cold War when we had 350, 400,000 U.S. troops in Germany and elsewhere, and we had to defend the Fulda Gap. It's not your mother's Russia. It's a different Russia. This is Russia. They talk a big game, but I don't think they're the. And I think right now, the way the Europeans are standing up, I would be very, very worried if I was a Putin. You know, just a comment. He sometimes rattles his nuclear trigger chain by saying, "Well, we're a nuclear power." I'd remind him, the U.S. is too, but so's Britain, so's France. And I said, just throw it right back at him.
Finished President Stubb. If you look at this thing from the perspective of Putin and the Kremlin, you have to ask yourself, how did I do? First, the aim was to take over Ukraine in a special operation in 4 days. Here we are, 4 years into the war.
If you look at this thing from the perspective of Putin and the Kremlin, you have to ask yourself, how did I do? First, the aim was to take over Ukraine in a special operation in 4 days. Here we are, 4 years into the war. Second was to create disunity in the West. I've never seen it more united before, including actually the transatlantic partnership. Third was to minimize the defense expenditure of NATO members. Trump has just hiked us up from 2% to 5%. And the icing of the cake is, of course, that Putin doubled his border to NATO through Finland and then eventually Sweden. So he has failed in all of his strategic goals, including the fact that Ukraine became very European and not Russian at all.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.